excited for this week. Last week was good. I think every week we're learning more and more about our guys, our team, and I think some of our guys are learning how to play and compete how we want them to and work through tough things, and I think that's what the film showed. And so I think it was good, and I think our guys are excited for this new challenge this week, which I think it will be a really good challenge. A lot of just watching the Cal film, a lot of respect for those guys, how hard they're playing and what they're doing.
Chris, with all the ties with Bowers and then with Tui and Wilcox and the connections with Washington.
I don't have any ties to those guys. Wilcox.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean, yeah, I mean, can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from his progression to become a head coach?
I just think he's a good football coach. I've known that for a long time, and whether he's running the defense or the whole team, he knows how to coach the guys and get them going.
Did you have a sense of when you thought, okay, this is the sign of a guy who's going to possibly be a head coach of Power 5?
I think it's apples and oranges. Some guys don't want to be it. Some guys were forced into it, by circumstance, and I get that. So I didn't know if he'd want to do it or not.
What were your early impressions of him? He was GA there at Boise first, and obviously your first defensive coordinator there.
Good coach, one of those good coaches. And, I think I've been around enough guys that you kind of know good coaches when you see them, and that's what I thought.
Watching the tape from Saturday, what first half, second half offense?
Yeah.
What did you see as far as differences, adjustments?
Yeah. A little bit of an awkward first half to describe, because we were doing some things. We were moving the ball. We got into some third and longs that made it kind of hard on us a little bit. Even though we're moving, we get a holding penalty. The sacks really hurt us, which they always do. That's like a big penalty in a lot of ways. And I think you kind of couple those in. I think our sacks all came in the first half, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a penalty here and there. That kind of just set us back on our heels a little bit, and didn't allow us to get into a great rhythm. And it's the typical offensive thing where it's one thing here and everybody else is okay, but the one guy just really kind of destroyed the whole play. And it wasn't a bunch of that, but it was enough to stymie us and keep us out of the end zone.
Did you get the sense that Jake was, I know it's not all on Jake obviously, but maybe a bit more aggressive in his decision making and a little more confident in the second half than he was the first half?
No, I thought he was fairly aggressive in the first half as well. He might have been into a little bit more of a rhythm in the second half, but I thought he was looking for things. There was one or two things that we ended up scoring on. I think one pass, he was a little bit high to Dante. I think Dante can make that catch, and I think Jake can throw a better ball. Now we ended up scrambling, I think, and scoring a touchdown anyways. There's one or two things that he probably would have maybe preferred to go a different direction with the ball. We might have got a completion, but it's just a lot of those little details that, for whatever reason, didn't add up in the first half.
What kind of challenges Bowers present? 6'3", kind of comfortable in the pocket, and he's got a big arm.
Yeah, he moves well. He buys time. He gets the ball out pretty quick. He'll throw it in there into tight coverage. Trusts his receivers, and there's some throws in there you're really, really impressed with. Gets them into tight spaces and puts it right on the money.
A guy like that, you're not going to say you play, but a guy like that, you trying to flush him out of the pocket or just play D in the second half of your defense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're trying to flush any of them out of the pocket. We want to keep him in the pocket. He can definitely get out of the pocket. He's mobile, he can scramble, but I think he's looking to throw the ball down the field. So, I think you're always trying to keep guys in the pocket.
Kind of like people who don't like to get up early in the morning. Could this be the personality of your offense on the road? Just kind of takes 15, 20, 25 minutes to kind of rev up?
I would hope not. Yeah. I don't know.
They were a lot of deep shots down the field in the passing game, especially on early downs, first down, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10. Was that more game plan, or was that more just reacting to what Oregon State was giving?
It's always reacting. I mean, sometimes we'll call plays that are definitely trying to throw it downfield, and it doesn't go downfield because they're just not allowing it. But it's always in our offense, you know, what the coverage dictates. And their coverage was tighter, lower, and, you know, we're trying to get some guys to be able to run by them. And, yeah.
Is the slow starting offense concern at all, or is it just
it's everything that doesn't work is a concern, so you guys don't even need to ask me that. I mean, if we don't kick the ball off correctly, that's a concern. If we don't start fast, it's always a concern. Everything is. We don't, hey, we're good with that. So I don't even know why you'd ask that. Of course it is. Yeah. You know, is it any more? Name something else that wasn't good. It's going to be the same thing.
How do you fix it?
Well, we're going to address it. You know, we talk to our guys, and how do you fix a turnover situation when it's not going in your, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you practice on it. You move things up in practice to get them going a little bit more, but it's not because they're not trying. And so you're always trying to be creative as coaches to fix every single problem you have.
You have all early morning practices. How do you assimilate 7:45 kickoffs at night?
Yeah, that's, boy, we love being morning guys too, but you know, maybe if we were to do it over, we practice at 7:45 at night and let them sleep in the morning or go to class and all that. I don't know, because, you know, that's the reality of it. You know, I just want to say again to our fans, we apologize for these late games, and also just reiterate it has nothing to do with us, the administration. I mean, we want to play at 1 o'clock. It hurts us tremendously in terms of national exposure. No one's going to watch our game on the East Coast that late. I mean, we all know it. I mean, we haven't had a kickoff before 5 o'clock this season. And so it's painful for our team, it's painful for our administration, and we know certainly and most importantly for our fans, and it is what it is. And we only have 5 home games left, and we just really hope that the fans will come out and have a good time with us, you know, watching college football. And so, you know, that's hard. It's just, I don't think we're going to play any early games. You know, we're not counting on it. That's just how it goes in our league.
It's not a new discussion at all since you've been in the Pac-12. Is there talk in the offseason or anything about maybe trying to be more equitable just in terms of the distribution of?
I have not heard that. I haven't. I wish I would. I mean, I think it's really frustrating to everybody on the West. But
it's important for you to raise your voice about this and be clear that of the problems that come.
I don't think they even kind of care about my voice or probably any of the coaches' voice, because I don't think there's one coach out there, or probably, you know, school in the West that, you know, wants to play all their games and late night and all that. I mean, everybody wants to play in the daytime, and so it is what it is, and we kind of know who's. Not that I've heard. Yeah, I mean, I know the coaches aren't going to make a difference in terms of where they want to play. It comes from a little bit higher up the food chain. Yeah, exactly.
Is there too much, does the TV have too much power and authority?
I mean, we already know that everything and so much of this, what we do, comes down to money. And the TV contracts are big, and they tell us when to play.
Do you see any merit, do you have any belief in the idea of the whole Pac-12 after dark, or the craziness happening at the late night games?
Explain that. What do you mean? Do I have any?
It's the thing on Twitter, it's the thing online, where it just always seems to be craziness, weird plays, odd happenings, and whatever.
I don't think it has anything to do with playing late games. Put us on at 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock and you'll see the same thing. So just you can see the game better. It's more light.
Chris, you went through that at Boise, though. You guys had to play at odd times and odd days. Did you come up with a rhythm or a plan that seemed to work for your teams there to handle the different start times you'd have to play?
Yeah, it was probably a little bit harder there because there was no rhythm, because we were on so many different days. You know, that situation probably helped us way back when, because nobody else was playing on Tuesday and Wednesday and all those things, and we were doing well, so it kind of got people's attention. But yeah.
This 4th and 10 run, first drive of the second half, that was on. Can you talk about what Jake did there and what he saw?
Well, I think that's just a great example of you know, just our week in preparation. I think the first guy to bring it up in terms of like you know, just kind of knowing that defense was Matt Lubick, you know, being in this league and has seen a lot of things. And, you know, if they bring with this blitz, we need to run the ball weak the other way, regardless of situation, circumstance is going to be big. And so then it goes, you know, to Jonathan certainly, and they're discussing it, and then he passes it on to Jake to get him dialed in on the checks, and away we go. And that's how we just do a lot of things, you know. It's certain guys are always, you know, talked about, the quarterback, the head coach, all those things, but it's like we do well because of the great staff we have, with everybody making tremendous contributions.
How often would you say in an average game that Jake makes an audible like that based on what his recognition of what the defense is and down the distance?
Yeah, that's a good question. We could know exactly. You know, I don't know. It's probably maybe in the 30%, somewhere around there, 30 to 40%.
Quarterbacks you've had, or is that unusual?
No, I mean, it just really depends on your style. Like if you're a really go fast team, you're not checking anything. You're just going fast and hoping you got them out of position where you go. We do a little of that. And then sometimes, you know, teams that really huddle up and go slower, you know, like the NFL guy, I mean, those guys are going to check, you know, maybe all their plays to make sure they're not running into a bad look. And so we do a little bit of, you know, of both.
Does Soderbergh go into Saturday as your?
Yeah, we're still, you know, we're still working on that and still competing and all those things. And I think that's important. We do that thing the right way. You know, we're always just trying to help our guys improve and get better with healthy competition that goes with it. And so I think both those guys are capable kickers, and we'll just kind of keep competing and kind of make a decision at the end of the week.
I think you mentioned after the CU game with Tristan there were maybe some physical things there that were kind of keeping him from execution-wise. Is it more mental with him?
You know, I'm not a kicker, so it's really hard for me to really give great information on that. But and I'm not really a golfer either, but I've golfed more than I've kicked. But I know that can be quite a mental process. And you know, I said this before, I think this game is such a game of confidence. And you start to make some, and you start to get into a great rhythm, and you don't, and just miss them, and you can start thinking about some things. And just got to get him back into a rhythm. And like I said, he's got a really big leg, and, you know, can do some good things, and we'll just keep competing.
You commented on Tristan's leg strength. What are Van's strengths, and what's his comfort range and go how far back?
Yeah, you know, not as far as Tristan at this point. You know, I think both those guys are accurate kickers. In practice, they do a pretty darn good job. They really do. And, you know, he's improved his kickoffs and his field goals from where he was a year ago, certainly. So he's still getting better, which is exciting to see where that progression is going to go.
Back to Jake, on your degree of trust and reliance, how has that grown in his 3 years? I mean, where was he as a freshman versus his ability to make the right call now?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been able to do a lot, but I think, you know, you have to be in this A system for quite a while, so not every little thing you have to think about. Certain things are just second nature in terms of looks that we don't like, how we call our cadence, you know, how we check our cadence. We check it different ways. It's not always the same. So some of that has to really be in your blood, so you're not just bogged down by all these mental processes. So we've continually just kind of grown the package, and he, you know, he doesn't flinch on it at all, you know. And I think Jonathan does a really good job of getting him on the same page, and he gets it. Yeah.
Chris, with your on Twitter putting out about wanting the fans to wear purple on Saturday night, is that implying that maybe there's a costume change involved?
Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. I mean, if we're going to ask them to wear purple, we'll wear some purple too. So, you know, I mean, purple's our color. And, you know, you saw the shirts that our marketing guys and all that stuff came up with. So, you know, we like the traditional unis. I think our players like the traditional, you know, that's what kind of who we are. But every now and again, it's good to switch it up, and it'd be really cool to see a stadium full of solid purple.
So
So is it going to be, I mean, literally purple head to toe?
It's going to be purple. That's what I'll say. It'll be purple. We got purple unis. I know that.
Purple helmets?
I don't know about that. We got purple unis.
Chris, do you sense any movement away in the game today from the super up-tempo offenses that seem so prevalent? The more plays, the better. You of course, still see that, but Oregon State's the second team you played this year that just totally tried to take the air out of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're kind of at a place where, the tempo offenses, they're still a bunch of those, and they're effective, and they score points. They really do. I think people have seen those for a long time. So it's not just necessarily the hot new thing to do that everybody was jumping on that. And so now you're seeing a little more huddle up, a little bit of varied tempo, everybody kind of getting back to their, own personal style. And now, again, like 3 years ago, you probably saw, 5 teams that might have huddled up and gone slow, and that's just what they do. I think some of that now might be, what we've seen the first few games. I think it was a little bit of a strategy of playing us, slowing down more so than maybe they normally would anyways.
Doesn't that play kind of into the strength of your defense? Right.
It can. I mean, our defense is going to see less plays, and I mean, the theory behind going fast and, more plays is going to do the math, I guess, equal more points. I mean, if you look at it across the board, that's what it does. And so that probably does help but, you can see the other side of the strategy is like, hey, let's keep it close. Let's get into the fourth quarter, and then anything can happen. And so, there's always unique strategies for everything. And I think that's kind of like the beauty of college football. I mean, those strategies are across the board, and it's different every week.
Chris, back to the kickoff times for a second. If you look at the schedule every week, it's almost like everybody is playing after 4, after 5. There might be 1 team, 2 teams that play around.
In our league?
Yes. Would you ever consider changing your practice schedule because of that? If you're going to play 5, 6, 7 every week, would you consider practicing later in the afternoon to kind of match that, or is it even close to that point yet?
Well, we wouldn't change it this year, for sure. I mean, our schedule's set in school and all that. I mean, I just don't think the guys like that better. I think once they start practicing in the morning, I mean, it's well into the 90-plus percentile. If you ask the guys, they want to go. We always say, we eat the frog around here. We eat the frog. You get the hard part of your day out of the way. And so to have to go through school and all this stuff, and then you got practice hanging over your head. I mean, I know as players that have gone through this and have had both schedules, when you experience them both, I think you really, really appreciate the morning schedule. Now, if it starts messing with, the biorhythms of our bodies and all that, and, if that could be somehow documented, then you'd maybe have to look at that. But I know just as the week goes, I think it's a healthier, better schedule to get the guys up and get them going and get that part of the day done, and then they go into academics.
So do you have night practices at all?
One time.
I mean, over the course of the season.
We had one this year in fall camp.
But never. I mean, even at Boise, it was all.
Oh, we did back in the day. Yeah. We had afternoon practices. They were like about 1:30. That's just the way the class schedule. We could get it done. I know you start getting into 3 and 4, and I know that's how it was here in the past. Maybe 4 o'clock practice. That's a long time. It's and then it goes into evening with meetings or whatever. It's just, I think it's hard.
9 carries for LeVon last week. Was there any sense of trying to ease him back in, or was it just throw him straight back?
No, I mean, we wouldn't ease him. I mean, he's either totally healthy in those situations or he doesn't play at all. So, yeah, it's good to get him back going.
You get the balance between him and Miles again in the game plan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and not only, on offense, LeVon does a lot on special teams as well.
What's any update on Chico, on surgery and stuff like that?
Went well. Went well. Now it's just a bunch of time. Just got to heal up. Yeah.
Did you feel like there was kind of a process Saturday of replacing him on the field on game day, guys stepping up to fill that spot? How do you think that went?
Not really. And I don't say that. I mean, Chico's got a unique skill set, and he's such a, he's such a curveball. He's a hybrid, Like I said, we hadn't put him in the backfield and handed him the ball this year, but you can do that. He can do a lot of different things, and so that's his unique skill set. That's the beauty of him. He's hard to say exactly what he does best, except for when he gets the ball in his hands. But so we move other guys around, and this guy might get one or two of his reps, and then another guy can kind of do this. And that's just how we do it, piece it together.
It looked like both Null got hurt and Pierce got hurt on tackles from Austin Joyner. Is there something that is that just part of his game, that he's just he kind of brings that enforcement mentality even as a cornerback?
I didn't realize that both those guys got hurt, and I didn't know it was Austin either. Yeah. I just know Austin plays hard. He goes one speed. He's, we've been kind of saying that all along. I mean, he's a good guy to have out there. He plays very hard, and he's a physical player for sure. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to watch the Washington State USC game, and were you surprised at how even?
I watched, I haven't studied the game. I watched parts of it. I saw parts of it, and, got two good teams going at it there, and it's good football. I mean, I think that's the Pac-12. I mean, I just really do. I mean, I keep saying that. I mean, Oregon State is not where they want to be right now, but 7-0 at halftime. And I mean, might have been a lot of people surprised, but I wasn't. I know that can happen. I really do. I can mean that sincerely. And so I think that there's a lot of good football in this conference, and on any given Saturday, it's like, well, what happened? No, not what happened. I mean, that's how it is. There's good players and good coaches, and emotions are different, and one team's kind of clicking a little bit more than they maybe normally do, and another team maybe isn't, and all of a sudden it's a completely different game.
Jake mentioned, I think, after the game that because of their bye, that they maybe threw some stuff at you that you weren't either expecting, or did you agree with your QB on that?
I just think that they have a lot, like I said last week, that they had a lot of defense, a lot coming at you, and they're game planners, and so they, it's hard to know exactly. I don't think there was much new that we hadn't seen on tape, at least this year or last year even. But it's hard to really get prepared for all of it. So, I mean, that game kind of went like I thought, in terms of like a lot of different blitzes and, predictability on the low end of when this is coming and when that's coming.
Real quick, Sean, on kickoff return.
Sean McGrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to block better for those guys. That I know, on kickoff return, returners. It's hard to really say much about those guys when they're not getting much of an opportunity to do much.
Chris, how much of the offensive Cal with Bo Baldwin how much has he changed or altered from when he was at Eastern Washington, from what you guys saw?
Looks very similar, again, lot there, very multiple. Will do whatever he needs to do to move the ball. If that means throw it every down or run it, I mean, it looks very similar. Okay.